Alright, so what's up YouTube? It's the Night Saint here, back with another video, and this video is going to be about the wisdom of the elders, of the elders, older people, the older folks, the OGs, the generation that come previously before you, the current generation. Now this is something that I think about all the time. Like, for one, you have to learn to be receptive, especially if you're younger. I think that in the video I seen KRS-One, if y'all know who KRS-One is, Knowledge Reign Supreme, the rapper from New York. He an older rapper, but he was speaking about how the younger generation and the older generation really need each other. He speak about how the younger generation, with the older generation, the younger generation makes the older people fast enough to hang with the younger generation, but the younger generation talking to the older generation, it really brings the younger generation up to them. And it was speaking about how just the sharing the knowledge and the sharing the information keeps them on the equal level, like, playing field. And I'm not gonna go too deep into that just because it's just a baseline understanding. When everybody on one accord, that's when the most harmony is allowed to exist. It seemed like ever since I've been born, it's always been like a beef between the generation and then whatever current generation it is and the older generation. I never really see the generations, in harmony. Of course you see it on videos, but you don't hear it. When I was growing up, I didn't really get a lot of older people trying to talk to me and try to put their arm around me, metaphorically speaking. I don't know Diddy shit, but just trying to put their arm around me and help guide me. Like, I lacked a lot of guidance in my life just because the older generation, they look down on the younger generation instead of helping them. They want to stiff their nose up like they haven't been young before. And that's one of the things I hate, is that how can people are so arrogant, they so arrogant that they don't understand that they was once a teenager. And they don't want to give the teenagers grace. And then the other side of that spectrum is the teenagers, the younger people, looking up at older people, like looking at them sideways, not wanting to humble themselves, and really just arrogance on both ends of the spectrum. And that causes imbalance. It causes this unharmony, disharmony, whatever the fuck the word is. My bad, but this is just being real. And that's one of the worst things that I hate, because I feel like I have no connection between, let's say, for example, I have a hard time communicating with older men, just because of the lack of guidance that I received in my life. So I always feel awkward trying to ask questions and that type of stuff. But it's been many times in my life where, probably around when I was 16, 17, where, let's say, my manager at Burger King, he was giving me advice about just life. Like I said, and I'm genuinely a person that when people talk to me, I will listen. I don't care if you're older than me. I don't care if you're a bum on the street. I listen to everything. I'm just a receptive person. When people talk to me, I listen. It's just because I'm just a student of life. I like to learn from people and what they say to me. Even if you're a crooked person, I listen from the crooked people all the way up to the most righteous people. That's just because life is life. Life is an experience. Just because you may not agree with the way that somebody lived, don't mean you can't learn something from them. And not saying that you have to, forget about your own morals or your own standards. You just have to be receptive, and you just have to be literally an open ear. And that's how I am. That's just how I am as an individual. So I always love and appreciate when, let's say, older men, they pull me to the side, or they just be they offer enough information willingly. They stop to have a conversation with me, because a lot of these older dudes, they just so arrogant, and they not even arrogant. They don't care. Of course, we all in our own heads and stuff. We all got our own stuff going on. But the fact of the matter is, they're very quick to belittle you and make you feel lower than what you are. And and that's kind of the saying. Of course, I'm not trying to go too off topic, but that's kind of like when people be trying to flex on people with no money. People always have money. People don't realize that flexing on somebody that essentially you flexing on yourself. You flexing on the person that is in the same position that you were in, let's say 5, 10, 20 years ago. And that's some of the lamest shit you can do. So when the older generation don't want to take the time to really do their due diligence and want to go back and have conversations with the younger generation, it's that's some of the lamest shit you can do. That's almost, in my opinion, that's some deadbeat shit. You come from a place where you understand the environment, but you don't want to help out. And I get realistically it is kind of like, it is a lost cause to a certain extent. But in my mind, it's like, even if you can't help everybody, you help whoever you can. You help whoever needs and wants to learn. If somebody want to get out of that, you should help them. Especially if people want to make an actual effort. But like I said, a lot of people just don't give a fuck. They just could really care less about people. I think Tupac was like, we just in such a gimme, gimme, gimme type of environment that nobody want to give. Nobody want to give up their time to help somebody else. And I can't wait till I can, and of course I'm doing it now, like even like just with this, I'm trying to spread some type of insight, just give an opinion and give some type of expression outwardly. But it's gonna come a certain point in time where I'm more stable in my mind and in my body and my spirit, and I can just go out and just help people free of charge. Like, that's the thing about me. I don't want to take money from people to go help them. Like, I want to do this shit as free as I can. I don't want to have a guilty conscience about taking money from people trying to help them. Like, if people want genuine help and they have a genuine desire to help, then I will. And whatever type of reward I get from that, I get that reward. And that's how I deem it, that's how I look at it, and that's how I really choose to live. But the thing about this video that, like, it really be blowing me is that, like, the elders and just the older people is that they got all the information that the youngest need. Like, they literally do. And of course, you're young, you gotta live your life. Is that it was a quote. It was like, older people. My bad, I forgot it. But it's something about. Let me search that real quick about elders and just the young people using their youth. Alright, so the quote is, "The youth is wasted on the young." That's right. Youth is wasted on the young. That's the quote. And that quote holds so much weight, like, in my heart and in my mind, because that's always the quote that I'm trying to, like, live by. That's why I try to live my life and gaining knowledge and trying to apply that and turn it into wisdom just for living my life every day. And they don't understand that the wisdom that the elders have, the wisdom that the older people have, and if they are willing to share it with the younger generations and younger people, that they won't waste it. They won't waste their youth bullshitting and just going all around the world. Not saying that literally, but I'm saying, like, just in their mind, like, had their mind so hopping all over the place and not in a focused place. And I get it. I have a sense of compassion for the older generation where, you speaking to kids, and let's be honest, the younger kids, not saying they got it worse, but like I said, we all in this fucked up state. And when you in a traumatic state and traumatized state, you don't want to hear shit from nobody. You don't want to hear anything from nobody unless they force you to hear it. And I think that's just the way of a teenager or just a young person. It's like, you just living your life, you're having fun, you just want to keep doing this, and I see it everywhere. And even me, I have my ways of, my bad, I have my ways of, like, not listening to, like, my elders. Well, for the most part, whenever they tell me things, I stop in my tracks and I listen. Just because some people, like I said, realistically, people lived a life before you have. People was born living life before I was even a fucking sperm in my daddy nutsack. Just a fact. So I had to learn to stop being, and this probably be an arrogant stage I probably had when I was like 14. Like I said, I dropped my most of my arrogance back then. But of course, that type of shit don't really lead to, like, you out the house and all that type of stuff. I'm still at home, and I'm probably a tiny bit arrogant still. But that's really essentially what it came back down to, with the fact of I was sitting here trying to act like, I knew something when I really didn't. Just because, and maybe that's just coming being a teenager. You just think that you know everything, but you really don't. You have your little small way of thinking about the world, but that small way of thinking is so wrong. It's so corrupted. It's so filled with emotion that, it blinds you. But yeah, So if you young and if you old, let's say if you young, try to listen to the older generation, especially if they willing to stop you in your day and try to talk to you. Then the older generation, I just ask that y'all please take your time out your day to talk to the younger generation. Even if y'all see it as a futile effort, still talk. Because the thing about words and, speaking to people is that sometimes you may be speaking to somebody and they may not understand what you're saying. But sooner or later, like your words is like a seed inside, like a fertile mind. Some people minds are like dead dirt that just need to be fertilized, and through time and through experience, they mind and that soil in their mind really starts to settle and it starts to get more healthy, and then that seed that you planted in there can really start to flourish and grow. So sometimes that's just what has to happen, and that's just not what that's just with people. Period. But I thank you all for watching the video. I appreciate y'all, and you have a good rest of y'all day. Thank you.